Oh, my name is Pitt. I'm an athlete, author and mindset coach. In 2011, I was badly burned during the Kimberley ultramarathon. I spent a couple of years in and out of hospital. I had over 100 operations and I really had to rebuild my life from the ground up. And when I think back to that experience, I'm really proud of, not only how I handled myself, but how I was able to galvanise myself and rebuild my life to a spot where I think it's even better than it was before. I've always been a pretty driven person. I mean, at high school I had 3 after-school jobs and I always volunteered for things and I always put my hand up to do things, and I think that's just because even before my accident I had this idea that life, it's so precious. We only get one shot at it, and it's not like a video game where you die and you get another chance. We don't get that opportunity in life. And I think, sometimes I get stressed because I think I've only got a certain amount of time left on this earth to make an impact and to do everything that I want to do. And I get overwhelmed because I think that I don't have enough time, but then I remind myself, just relax, take it easy, take the pressure off, and just focus on doing the small steps that you can do today. So I think I've always been really driven to get the most out of life, and I think it's a pretty important reminder for all of us to not take things for granted and to remember that each day that we get, it's really a gift. If I could give advice to someone who's at a really low point, it's that, sometimes when you think about the end goal of where you want to be and you're at a really awful place, that idea of rebuilding your life and recovering can seem very overwhelming and almost insurmountable. And so what I did is I used to focus on just getting through one day at a time, and when I got through one day, I'd pat myself on the back and I'd say, well done, Taria, you've made it through another day. And then when a day was too hard, I'd break it up into hours and I'd say, you're still here, it's another hour past, you're still here. And I think just, again, take the pressure off, be kind to yourself, be easy on yourself. You are a human and it's okay to have feelings, and if you're going through adversity, just take the pressure off and just take it really slowly, day by day or even hour by hour. I always get asked where I find my strength from, and I think people assume that I'm a supernaturally motivated person and every morning I jump out of bed and I can't wait to seize the day. But I think it's important to take the pressure off yourself as well and not have that high expectation that every single day you're going to smash things. So I always say, I say to people that motivation, that's the spark that starts the fire, but really it's consistency that keeps the fuel burning. So I remind myself that whatever it is I'm doing, whether that's training for an Ironman or working on something new in my business or writing a book, I have to let go of this idea of needing to be externally motivated and just focus on consistency and just doing the small things that I can do every day that get me closer to where I want to be. Yeah, I think when you're talking about motivation, first of all, you've got to have something that really excites you, that gets you out of bed, so something that you're working on or a marathon that you're training for. And more than that, you've got to have a really crystal clear and really compelling reason for why you're trying to achieve that. Are you writing a book because you've always loved literature and you want to share a story with the world, or with me for Ironman, I wanted to do that because I wanted to prove to everyone and to all of the naysayers that not only was I as fit as I was in the ultramarathon, but I was fitter. So it's really important to not only have something that you're working towards, something crystal clear and something tangible, and on top of that, you have to have a really crystal clear reason for wanting to achieve that goal. So they're the 2 things that you always need when you're achieving a goal. And that's what gets me out of bed most mornings. I think what's always drawn me to doing endurance events has been, it's a space where you can really challenge yourself and you can really test yourself, and you really find out how much you can cope and how much you can endure. And I think, especially in our lives these days, they're so comfortable, you know, like you wake up, you open the fridge, you pour your breakfast, you watch TV, you hop in your car, you drive to work, you sit at a desk, you type on a computer, you're in an air-conditioned office, and you never really get a chance to test yourself or to stretch yourself. And so that's why I like, you know, things like endurance events and free diving and surfing, because they're all places and opportunities where you can, you know, get outside of your comfort zone and just test yourself a little bit more and see how resilient you are. And I believe all of us are incredibly resilient. All of us have the tools within us to cope with all scenarios, but we just never get tested, and so we never get to see that we do have it in us. I think that's one of the really, you know, good things about my accident, is that I got tested beyond what any normal human gets tested, and that doesn't happen to most people. And so I went through that experience where I had to rebuild my life completely from scratch. You know, I couldn't even walk, I couldn't brush my hair, I couldn't wipe my ass. So I was in that low point of my life, and I found the tools within me to learn how to get out of bed and start walking, how to bend my elbow enough so I could feed myself, how to brush my hair. And I think because I went through that experience, I've realized that not only am I resilient, but it also makes me think that all of us are resilient, all of us are capable, all of us are strong, all of us have so much mental toughness, but we never get tested. We never get uncomfortable, we never get outside of our comfort zone, so we believe that we don't have it in us, that we're not capable, but I think that's bullshit. I think we've all got it within us, we just never test ourselves. I'm human, and of course I have negative thoughts. You know, in a race I'll think, this is hard, I can't do it, it's too much. When I wake up in the morning I think I've got a really big day, I don't know if I want to do it. And you know, we've all got these two voices inside of us, and you've got that negative voice who says, oh, you're not good enough, you're stupid, you're ugly, you're going to fail. But we've also got that other voice, that empowering voice, and that voice which tells us that we can do it. And so to try and drown out that negative voice every morning without practice, without fail, I do my gratitude practice. And you know, gratitude is a tool that I use every day to short circuit those sort of negative emotions. And the awesome thing about gratitude, you can't be grateful and angry at the same time. You can't be grateful and bitter at the same time. You know, if you're truly grateful, that's the only experience that you can have. And I think as well, so often we're always focused on what we don't have in our lives and what's not going right for us and what people haven't done for us. And I think when you flip that and think about what it is that you are truly grateful for in your life, whether that's your family, your kids, your health, your home, your job, you know, when you start your day in that place, that's a way more motivating place to be in. So that's what I use specifically to short circuit negative emotions. I use gratitude. So, you know, I always get asked about what my morning routine is. It's pretty simple. The first thing I do in the morning is actually the first thing I don't do, and that is I don't look at my phone, because when you do, you get into that habit of just scrolling through and you get messages and emails and alerts, and all of a sudden, not only are you starting the day off stressed because you've got to do all of these things for everyone else, but at the same time, it's not a very inspiring or motivating place to start your day off. So the first thing I do is I don't look at my phone. The second thing I do is I grab my son, I pick him up, I put him on the living room floor, set him up with some toys. I open up the blinds because sunlight helps us wake up. I make a coffee, I sit down, I watch my son play. I marvel at his tiny little fingers, and I reflect on the miracle of life, and I think of 3 things specifically that I'm really grateful for. So today, I was grateful for my partner who got home after 10 days and he's really working on something that's important to him. I'm grateful for my son, for all of the joy that he brings to my life. And I was grateful because I had a lot of, you know, exciting things that are happening with my book behind the scenes, and I think that's such an awesome place for me to be in, that not only are people interested in my book, but they want to buy it and they want to read it. And after that, I asked myself a really simple question, and I asked myself, what's the one thing that I could do today that would make today great? And if you ask yourself that, you'll notice instantly your body starts to react biochemically to that question. And for me today, when I asked myself that, I thought I'm going to go for a surf with my family later today. Yeah. I guess if I think about my 3 most valuable life lessons, the first one would be, everything in our life comes down to our mindset. And I really believe that when you master your mindset and you master your self-talk, that anything is possible. I think the second life lesson, I guess, would be that I'd tell people just to forget about motivation, forget about this idea that you have to be externally motivated by some external source, just forget about that and just focus on being consistent. And the third life lesson, I guess, would be to really start using the tool of gratitude, because it's so awesome, it's free, it's easy, it's quick. And if you start your day off being grateful and showing gratitude, that's going to instantly transform how the rest of your day turns out. And when I think about the legacy that I want to leave behind, I guess it's just, in hospital I read books by people who'd overcome adversity. I read a book by Sam Bailey, who's a farmer, and he had a bad car crash and he became a quadriplegic, and he managed to rise above all of that. And now he's the first quadriplegic in the world to fly a helicopter. And so I read his story, and it really made me think, if this typical Aussie bloke can rebuild his life, then I can too. So I think for my legacy, it'd be awesome that when people hear of my story, they think, well, if Teresa's been able to rebuild her life, and if Teresa's been able to do an Ironman event, then that means maybe I could quit my job, maybe I could learn a language, maybe I could do a half marathon. So I think if I inspire people to take action in their own lives, I think I'll be really proud of myself.